studio because it's a revolution in the restroom that we're having here at WILX. And you can join that revolution at Riverwalk Theater this afternoon. We are joined by cast members and the production team of the three-time Tony Award-winning musical Urinetown. We've got Brian, Robert, Elena. They're all in studio with us today. How are you guys?
Great to be with you.
Yeah, this is a long time coming for this show. Third time's the charm.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about this journey that this show is finally at Riverwalk Theater.
Yeah, well, my best friend Angie, who is our music director, and I talked right before COVID. We were going to put the show on. We thought it was really great for the times even back then. And unfortunately, COVID canceled it. We started doing it when it was going to come back, you know, when theater was coming back.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, our venue got taken away from us. So third time's the charm, and I couldn't be happier with this cast and this production team. They're just phenomenal.
Absolutely. It's a long time coming and for a good reason.
Oh, yeah.
And especially right now is the perfect time to put a show together like this, right? Oh, yeah. Now, Urinetown does have some heavy topics, but it's performed in such a comedic way. Ryan, tell us a little bit about the show and what people are going to see on stages.
Yeah, so it's post-apocalyptic and it's a comedy, which those two things don't really seem to go well together. But it's really about this world in which sort of ecological devastation had happened and the water supply was totally tainted. So then this like extremely authoritarian government basically took things over, and a corporation kind of got in there, corrupted itself. And we start the show then with, you know, this really, really downtrodden poor versus the ultra rich. And so throughout the show, there is a revolution that happens, and along the way, it makes fun of musical theater, it makes fun of our politics, it makes fun of pretty much everything. And it does so in a way that is, I think, very relatable and kind of beautiful.
That's right. And speaking of relatable, we've got two wonderful cast members, Robert and Elena. And you guys have been in rehearsal day in and day out putting on this show. Tell me a little bit about your characters and the roles you play.
Yeah, I play Bobby Strong is the name of the character. He is the leader of the revolution, but at the beginning of the show, he starts off as just sort of your everyman who's working at the urinal that everybody comes and uses in the town. And so he undergoes this traumatic experience with a member of his family being taken off to Urinetown. And he is influenced by Elena's character, Hope, to go ahead and essentially start that revolution. However, that was never the intended goal, and he sort of gets in over his head, and if you come see the show, you'll see a little bit more about what happens to him.
Okay, good. Leave us on a little tease as well. Elena, do you find that you relate to your character, Hope, at all?
Not really, but I love her. I love her.
Yeah, okay.
She's great. I play a rich ingenue who is really naive, but really has a really bright future for how she thinks the world should be, and then she meets Bobby and tries to make that happen. So she undergoes a bit of a change, so I won't spoil it, but she ends up quite differently than she began.
I love that. Well, you guys are putting me on the edge of my seat. You don't want to spoil it. You're leaving us with just enough. But we cannot ignore the fact that the show is called Urinetown. We've got a plunger right here behind us, okay? So tell us a little bit about the set. And one question I've been dying to know, how much toilet paper, how many urinals, porta potties, what's the set looking like, and how much of this are we using?
Oh, so the set is beautiful. There's Riverwalk Theater is a thrust stage, and so we've got the proscenium arch, and then you've got the actual thrust itself. And the proscenium is decorated with kind of a lot of junk that sort of tells our story of you know, the old ruins of society sort of growing into this sort of plastic society that we see at the beginning of the show. We actually don't use toilet paper in the show, but we do have one urinal and one toilet that we utilize. So there's a lot of plungers, things like that. So yeah, the theme is there, but no toilet paper. It's a pain in the butt to, no pun intended.
Well, literally. And of course, there's a lot to see on this stage. You guys open up this Thursday, but one thing, Brian, I want to quickly ask you is because you said a good comedy makes you laugh, but a great comedy makes you think while you laugh. So what do you want audiences to leave, and where do you want them to place themselves as they're watching this show?
Well, it's a really good show for the times because ultimately the story of Urinetown really is a story of moderation. It's a story of how dangerous the extremes can be in our society, and I think everyone knows we're doing this on election day, and so there's a lot that our society is going through right now, and I think Urinetown really tells the story of like choosing one side extreme or the other extreme kind of leads to this sort of dystopian future. So let's do something where we can all share our resources and we can all sort of work together to kind of make a brighter future. So that's the goal. It's going to make you a little uncomfortable in a couple of times,
Okay.
just because.
That's what theater does, and that's what it's supposed to do, and then that's how you know the story is great.
Exactly.
Of course, we have the information at the bottom of your screen, but don't run to the bathroom just yet, everybody. The cast of Riverwalk is sticking around. They're going to play a little game with us in just a bit. We'll be right back after a commercial.